Hi, Sportster Paul. We're going to talk about the Surfside, Florida condominium collapse. My hypothesis is that this planter, here's the building, this part collapsed first, then this back part went, then this part fell. My hypothesis is that this planter collapsed the floor, collapsed this deck into the parking garage below. That took out the whole rest of this area, as you'll see from pictures and stuff. And then 7 minutes later, the weakened columns, the 5 structural columns here, collapsed the center part of the building. And anything smart I've come up with is because of a website. Let's see if I can get it up real quick. This fella, Jeff Ostroff. So this video, I'll link to it first thing in the description. Miami condo collapse. Could pool deck work 2020 cause it? And I don't know that that's the case, but here's a part of the collapse. Here's the deck collapsed. Here's columns over on the existing building. We'll look at all of that. But right now, what makes me say that the planter, the landscape planter, collapsed down into the parking deck is based on this video. And this was by the famous video footage taken minutes prior to collapse, shows water spilling into the condo garage. And I think that's almost certainly a sprinkler pipe, or not a sprinkler pipe. It's probably a fire sprinkler pipe, but they also may have PVC water sprinkler pipes up in the ceiling of that pool deck, up above the deck. Now, I wanted to mention, this is credit, I don't have copyright for any of this, Adrianita Castillero by A Storyful. So I'm not going to play this because, I don't want to violate her copyright or Storyful's copyright. But what I did is I expanded this to full size. I did press the print screen button. Took a screen grab of this in the clipboard, in the Windows clipboard. Then I went into View, which is a free viewer. It's like GIMP or Photoshop or any of the dozen others. Paint, I might even be good enough. But View is great. Nice Serbian boy. And I'm Croatian, so he's okay. View, free viewer. So then I pasted that screen grab from that video. And Jeff, in his video, he does an enhancement in here, and he thinks maybe the column's falling. To me, it's obvious. The deck's falling. And the way to see that, you can take this maybe even down to here, right? But don't get any of these bright pixels. Don't get anything bright. Go here. Keep this bright stuff away. You can see there's stuff going on here, but when you go image, auto adjust colors, now you can really see what's going on. To me, this is the planner. It's very deceiving, and you got to watch that video Jeff did, the one I'm linking to right below, the one I just showed you. The ramp down into the parking structure ends well past halfway through the building that collapsed. And that's this pillar. So by the time you're here, you're already more than halfway through the building. This pillar, still up. This is 7 minutes before the collapse. Now, the pillars are evenly spaced. So as Jeff points out, pillar here. Where's the pillar here? He thinks it's fallen over here. He doubts that's the planter, but I think that's part of that planter structure. And that's what triggered the collapse. Not that the weight of the planter alone should have done that, but I think if those are real plants, not plastic ones, and they've been watering them all these years, that water got through the waterproofing. Frank Morabito, the consultant that was hired, has shown, no, the waterproofing was design error. It's flat. It doesn't have a slope like a shower pan is supposed to have a slope. So what keyed me to this improved image, right here, see this right there? That's a pipe. That's the pipe that broke, that's now leaking up here. And it didn't break where the edge is here. It broke way down here. Here's the end of the pipe, okay? And what we're looking at is the edge of the pool deck slab. That's what this lighter colored stuff is. And that's what this box is part of that structure. Now the problem here, and comment, or better yet, Jeff can just do this and do a better job than I'm doing. What's this back here? At first I thought it was a column because there was punch through where the deck fell, but the columns towards the back, right? This is going south as you look into the screen. Just punch through, and there could be a design problem there with not enough rebar. It looks a little too wide, especially if that far back. to be a column. I think it might be another part of that planter, that landscape planter. And then all this dark stuff is the bush. This is, you know, what the planter had in it. And that weight, and more so the water over 40 years, collapsed the structure here. And then 7 minutes later, it brought down this column and hence the rest of the building. So the column that collapsed isn't under the building. It's just on the outside, just on the south side of the building. So let me show you here, right here. To me, that looks kind of like a paver, right? This long square thing. Well, that kind of looks like a piece of edging or maybe part of that planter box. But I contend that this is the edge of the slab. And what's confusing is as you go further back, there's cars parked. This slab fell on top of cars. So although this edge, especially in this drive area, came down flat, pinned this pipe here, as you go back, it's sloping upward on top of the cars. And from the angle, if you have a good spatial relationship, like a lot of engineers, you can tell the woman who made this video is pointing down. Now there's another trick. If you don't want to use the auto adjust colors, let's go Control Z. You can just do image color correction. Oh, here, let me show you something real quick, what we're doing. Histogram. These are the pixels. Yeah, and you can look at blue ones and red ones and green ones, but see, everything's dark. Here's the dark, here's pixels that are bright white, and most all of them are dark. So when we did that, let's do it real quick. Do a Control Shift U, same thing. And then update. You see how we've moved and put more pixels in bright light? That's what gamma is doing for you, or auto adjust colors. So go Control Z, do update back to where we were, get rid of the thing, do image color corrections. I messed with brightness and contrast in all my years of doing technical writing. Gamma is usually your friend. See how gamma is kind of doing the same thing? It's pulling the dark areas up. I found somewhere between a gamma of 2 and all the way up to about 3. When you go extreme, no information. You know, black is no information. So somewhere, you know, let's do around 2.5. Saturation, you can make it black and white, and you can play with that. Contrast, sometimes you can add a little contrast, and it makes it better, but let's just say okay. So to me, same thing. You can see the pipe very clearly. I should have mentioned this is water, right? This is the edge of a puddle of water that's formed. It's going all the way to this column, and you can kind of see the column reflecting in the water here, but that's the base of the column, and the water puddle's reflecting it. What this is, you know, is that planter a two-piece thing? What's tumbled in? But this is all past the building. The building hasn't collapsed yet, right? Here it is. So what else did oh, we can show you what this did. See, it kind of spreads those, it puts more pixels in a brighter area. And you got to be careful, little false color stuff. So is that really something green? Who knows? But this is a problem. This thing here is a sign that's on this grate. This is let's close this out. This is a human door. You can see a doorknob, a little red sign, warning, don't go in and trespass. Who knows? I thought right here, the end of this did the pipe end here? In other words, it was hanging down from the ceiling. Turns out what this darkness is this diamond-shaped steel on the grate, the grill, the gate to get into the parking garage has got a horizontal thing going this way and a horizontal bar going that way. And that's what that is. And to prove that to myself, let's go to, this is Vegas Pro, which is a video editing program made by Magic. It used to be Sony Vegas. Now it's Magic Vegas. I took that video that woman did. Let's see if we can show you that. This one here, footage taken minutes prior. I downloaded it from News Nation Now. I downloaded it at a lower resolution. Rumor, one of the commenters in Jeff's video that I linked to says the woman who took this video gave it to him. Original file out of her phone, which would be the best resolution. So I'd love to see Jeff play with this a little more. Where are we? We're going to show you the video editing. What I did, let's go look at the pan zoom. I went here, here's the image slider. This is the very end, right? This is the beginning. I'm going backwards in time. See the slider down at the bottom? This is where it begins. And what I did is I zoomed into this little area so that we don't care about the rest of the building. It hasn't collapsed yet. Let's look at just that garage. You hardly get any information. I'm not even going to show it because it is kind of a copyright violation. Right about here, which is around 10 seconds, 9:27, she starts the first zoom. There's two zooms. That zoom here ends right around 10:22. Then she goes a little longer, and then she does another zoom. So this is the closest. So I made a video, and you can see how I made all these keyframes manually, one at a time, kind of spacing them out. Didn't do a perfect job. You'll see it jump around a little. So let's see what's going on. Well, having a moving video of all this, and then in addition to tracking it, taking the camera shake out. Color correction, I put in a 1.796 gamma. I'm not sure how that relates to the numbers in Earth and View. Programmers never agree on anything, so who knows. And then I added a little bit of contrast with this button in the video chain, right? So we'll close that. We can hide this. We will go now to, I need VLC video. Here's that video. Stabilized, just the last 4 seconds. Stabilized and gamma and contrast. You see the sides moving? That's because I'm stabilizing it, right? And I'm moving that frame around to keep it in the same view. And then you can hear the woman talking. I think it's the same woman who did the video after the collapse. And at the end of that video, she starts sobbing. It's the most heartrending, gives you faith in humanity. That it just broke her down watching this tragedy. Let's look at it again. What did I want to point out? Okay, the pipe isn't broken here. That's that black bar, right? That's just water gushing down. It bothered me. If it's a fire sprinkler pipe, you'd think it would be a lot more powerful. But then it occurred to me, there was probably 10 pipes got broken and water pressure dropped in the fire system. Here's the other thing, going back to the Google Earth. If these are not plastic plants, if these are really live plants, and I think they are, they have to water them. I doubt they send a guy out to go water. Watch Jeff Ostroff's video that I linked to down below. And he has videos of inside the garage. I don't want to, I got enough copyright problems. I'm not going to go bootleg his stuff. And I think he's monetized. I'm not. So hopefully this is fair use. But he shows videos from inside the garage. He's done amazing work. He did great work with the bridge collapse video a couple of years ago. So he shows there's all this, in addition to the fire, the red fire pipe, the fire sprinklers, there are white PVC pipes. Now I'm wondering, see right here, is that a drain? Is this a drain? Is that a drain? Is that a drain? Drain, 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 drain. Where's the drain? Is it just a hole and it goes down and that's why there's always water on the floor? Is there PVC that takes these drains somewhere? It wasn't clear from the garage, but there are PVC pipes that might be drain pipes, but they also could be supplying sprinkler water, which means they drilled up through the slab to get into these planters to feed them water. Otherwise, they could have lifted the pavers and dropped in the pipes to feed water to all of these planters. But see, when you look, let's see if I can find that. This is, before there, this is the collapse part. This is the building still standing. These are these thicker ones. See, this slab, this is a double parking deck. It's parking on the ground level, but also below. So these have fallen onto cars underneath. This right here is supposed to be connected up here. These are the punch throughs, right? This right hand is the end of the building. This might be the planter, right? Ostroff thinks this is a planter. I'm not sure if it is or isn't. Let me pronounce his name wrong. Ostroff, Jeff. He thinks that part of the planter. Here, I'm not sure, but he's just got a brilliant analysis. I'm just a little more confident that it's a planter. And by today, this is, what is it, July 15th, he might have come to the same conclusion. What did I want to show you? Oh, okay, let's go. See, here's a money shot. I'm not going to show you because he did a ton of work. This drawing that you can barely see, that's where he shows. This is the column that collapsed. He goes underneath. But what I want to show you here is, here are the columns, right? This is the one Jeff and I both agree collapsed. Maybe this one as well. 7 minutes later, it took down these 5 and that whole center part of the building. He thinks the building even collapse this far. I don't. I think it was wider. Several of the commenters agree. They took a test right here, right? They cut a hole. They lifted the pavement and they drilled a 3-inch hole. Jeff thinks this is the bottom underside of the pool deck. I think the bottom is here, and there's a rebar right in the middle. They may have cut through a rebar. Would that have collapsed? No, this wouldn't be standard practice. If drilling a sample hole, a core sample, collapsed your building. But because of the water, constant watering, and you can watch Jeff's video, there's all kinds of problems above here in the ceiling of this area of the parking garage. And I contend that's not just the weight that's cracked the concrete and damaged the waterproofing, it's the constant watering. The other factor I've discovered, one of the little things I'm adding, there used to be palm trees in these planters. And you can see here's one planter, here's the other big square planter, and then here's that middle planter, right? All this is filled in. Now, I was confused. These are beams on the ceiling, right? These are beams on the underside of the pool deck above the parking garage that you can see in Jeff's video. So it might be they planned on having this weight. They put those beams there to support these planter structures, but not the new ones. The ones they added since the landscape plan 40 years ago are these square ones. And I'll show you in Google Earth historical view. They used to be palm trees till 2017, big, tall, heavy palm trees. And that's what makes me think they're watered. That's what makes me think that combined with maybe a design defect that the waterproofing wasn't sloped and runoff, a construction defect that the punch through on the columns, they didn't have enough rebar, maybe not. We'll find out in a few months, a few years maybe. But then all this weight that was provided for with these concrete columns, these aren't columns, these are beams, these concrete beams going between, column, there's a column, here's a column. But the constant wetness seeping through, the damage to the waterproofing layer, concrete is porous. Water will go right through it. And when it goes through it, especially if it's salty water from sea air or chlorinated water from the pool or constant sprinkler water every couple days, it rusts the rebar and disintegrates it. So Jeff thinks this column went first, then this one maybe at the same time. That's, my image. Here's the end of the driveway, or the ramp, down ramp. This is the one at the edge of the back edge of the building. There should be a column right here that's holding up this planter. I think this is the planter. Although it questions, what's this? What's this? There's a little curled thing. Let's go back to where it was so we don't confuse ourselves. Is this? Okay, so this I cut and paste from. This is a Morabito consultant document 3 years ago when he said, you got to do $12 million to fix this thing. He wanted to tear this whole slab down. You can see just barely. Go look at Jeff's video. It's much clearer there. Here's a planter. Here's a planter. You notice it's over a column here, right? Let's see if I can shrink it down. There we go. This is where it should be. I had it expanded. So here we're at Morabito construction. They put a planter over this column, a planter over this one, planter over this one. They were kind of smart, right? And there are these beams that I think were meant to help with structure that they intended to put out here. When we zoom in here, we see one of those big planters was over this beam, but then this planter was not only in the middle of nowhere, but there's no beam. There's a beam here for earlier planter stuff. You can just barely see. It's clearer in his video. I just don't want to steal too much from him. He deserves all the credit, and he's the one that made all this clear. This test patch, they've got some rocks in a sack here to hold this down. He wasn't sure what that was. That's just a bag with some rocks in it to keep the min working thing from blowing over in the wind. So this one over here this is the thicker columns. It's not so much that they have to support cars above them, right? Because there's a 2-layer parking deck in this part of the building, but that the column is longer. It's twice as long. It's got to go from the floor of the basement of the parking deck up to the ceiling of the parking deck. Then it's got to go from the floor of the bottom parking deck all the way up to where the building starts, another 10 feet higher. So because that's a longer span, they need thicker columns in this area. You can see them all here. And these are the normal columns. So this core, here they said they couldn't see waterproofing. So not that the weight of the planter even if it got full of water, even if it was full of dirt, even if they added these square ones, and I got to show you that, if it wasn't for what Jeff calls the compromised nature of the slab, of the pool deck slab, it wouldn't have collapsed. So it's not like the landscape planter caused the collapse. It was the first point the collapse began, I think, and then radiated. I'm pretty sure this came down and took down the whole rest of this slab with that punch-through problem. And then 7 minutes later, from when that video was made, these 5, maybe not this one. I think 1, 2, 3, 4. I think these 4 came down. This is the shear wall. It stayed up. That's what saved that part of the building. But let me show you another little interesting thing. Okay, here's Google. This is where we see this. You go upright to stand it up. You go N, north. U, you hit the letter U, goes upright, then it goes north. It's got 3D buildings. That's just the image. Then Google has some monstrously complicated algorithm that adds all this information so you can see it like this, right? Go upright. Go north. Okay. We can see the planters. Now, they put these used to be palm trees. And so the way you figure that out, you go up here. This is Google Earth, which you can do in a web thing. This is the standalone Google Earth. You do show historical imagery. Bam. So now the fact that it's check 3D buildings, it has to eliminate that. And you can see 720, my camera's in the way, I can't read. The viewfinder, the camera's blocking the thing. Maybe can I cheat? Move it up a little. Here we go. 1/4/2021. So this is in January 4th of 2021. You see the planters. This black here is a umbrella, and a patio table with an umbrella over it. But now go way back and you go back to 1985. This is when the building was, first built. Can't see anything. Go forward. 95, the angle. See, you can see the side of the building. The top corner of the building is covering up everything we're interested in. Go to 99, same exact view, same exact problem. Go to 1299, same view, same problem. 2002, you can kind of see those planters. So they've been there for a while. You can definitely see, I think this was in from construction. That's why those beams are there. In the ceiling of the basement of the garage, parking garage, to support this weight, right? So those are the added ones, though, that weren't in. You watch Jeff's video and say, hey, it's not in the landscape plan. These separate ones. This part is, right? But now let's just keep going real quick. 2003. And now you'll start to see palm trees growing. Oh, those are palm trees. Those aren't the little bushes that, are when the collapse happened. Palm tree. Bad angle. Bad angle. Good angle. Very clear. They're palm trees. Big, heavy, watered palm trees. I doubt they're rubber palm trees, right? And some of these you can see, like this one, you can start getting an idea. They're pretty tall, right? And I think that's why they took it down. I don't think they ever had the presence of mind to say, I think like an engineer, it's heavy, let's take them down. I think the people in the lower floor apartments are saying, I'm looking at a palm tree, I paid for an ocean view. Please cut those palm trees down. And I think that's probably what happened. That's 2010, fuzzy, very clear palm tree. And here's, you can get an idea of the length. See, there's the shadow. From here all the way there. That's pretty tall palm tree. You can, all you smart folks can do trigonometry and fractions and ciphering, figure out how tall that is. Bad angle, but clear palm trees, very clear. It's palm trees, getting bigger. 14. I'll get going here. Very clear. They're palm trees in those planters. Bad angle, palm trees on 2016. Okay, this is March of 2017. Very clear. It's palm trees in there. This is April 4, whatever. Okay, so now 5/7/2017, palm trees. Lots of them, including, oh no, that's a shadow. So once again, this palm tree here is casting a shadow down over here. Let's go up one more. Gone, right? So sometime between 5 whatever and 12/13/2017, sometime there, they took all the palm trees out of these planters, which is good because it took the weight out. This stuff here, this could be a shadow from, like these shadows of the construction. This is the building that's completed now, but was going up. The other thing you'll see, like right here and right here, those are reflections. The sun's hitting the glass and then it's reflecting down, and it'll be more clear. Let's go 2018, bad angle, 2000, half decent angle, 2018, but the palm trees are gone. Okay, and here's a very clear one where these are reflections from the sun's hitting the glass on this side of the building and it's reflecting down, and that's what these brighter things are. That's 2018. Nothing really too spectacular here. I'll just walk a bad angle, bad focus, good, clear as a bell. Oh, there was something else I wanted to show you. See, I forgot. Let's see if I can go real quick. Let me do a binary search. See, they put this ring around the pool, and we can identify that. I forgot to point it out. Sometime here, there. So on 3/6/2013, January, February, March 6th, 2013, they got a little fence up, and they're putting that edging. The pool's empty, it's been drained, and they're putting edging around here. And they're putting edging around here. You go one more, and there it is, right? That's the work they did. Now there was some white stuff. Let's go back again. Oops, come on, back one. Did they lift pavers? I don't see why. That could just be some work material that they stacked up and covered with a tarp, right? So I don't think they violated the integrity of the waterproofing or the pavers or any of that. So I wanted to show you that. We'll get going here. It's already almost a half hour. Here, once again, very clear the reflections that you're seeing. And then let's uncheck 3D buildings down in the corner. And when you eliminate historical, it'll go to the newest one. Right now it's 1/4/2020. So we're 1/4/2020, but then when we go 3D buildings, we get this. So since Americans love to blame other people, design problem, obviously no sloping and the waterproofing like the consultant said. Construction problem, some people say, well, the shear columns, the rebar, there's not enough rebar in these columns to support the slab. They only saw 2. That was that picture. I guess I'll make it full screen so you can see. See, there's just like 2 little pieces of rebar coming out of this big thick column that's supposed to hold this deck up. So there have been college professors, that doesn't look like it's built to print. The print has a lot more metal. Now, you can see, look at this thing down here. There's some rebar down there, right? So maybe it's just, it ripped the rebar out of the column and it is built to design intent. But there could be a construction issue. This is where the building ends. So, like I say, this is probably that planter. This could be. And then when that right-hand side of the building collapsed, it kind of fell towards the left and put all this stuff in. But this part fell remarkably in place. So what else? We did our Google Earth. I guess that's it. So if you see this and know Jeff, say, hey Jeff, look at the enhancement we did with our little Control Shift U, Isn't that the slab? Isn't this the pipe? What's this? I'd like to think it's a piece of the planter. Be careful, it might not really be that color. Artifacts can happen when you have so little information and you're brightening it up. What's this kind of, it looks like a square cap that's fallen off this big box that I think is part of that planter structure. Hard to say. So that's my supposition. Let me get back to Google Earth. This planter box triggered the collapse. 7 minutes, it took down the rest of the building. Sportster Paul, good luck. Catch you next time. Bye now.